Here are the top stories for today, May 13, 2022. The youth and their parents are urged to be more vigilant against the deception of the terrorist groups in the country. The Commission on Elections is set to hold a special election in Lanao Sur. Failure of elections was declared in the province due to poll-related violence. The Philippines records its lowest number of active COVID-19 cases on May 11. A vending machine promoting Ilocos Norte's local products is launched in Lawag City. Good day, I'm Marita Muaje. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The youth and their parents are now urged to be more vigilant against the deception of the terrorist groups in the country as they lurked behind democratic protests. National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict spokesperson Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy said the CPP-NPA-NDF might take advantage of the youth's lawful assemblies on the streets. Badoy clarified that dissenting rallies are not a problem as it is enshrined in the Constitution. However, she said the terrorist groups are using the youth's distraught views to cast doubt on an obviously clean elections, stirring much anger. Badoy called out to parents to watch their children as they may be recruited or used as sacrificial lambs for their violent moves.
Napakalinis ng elections na ito, very credible. Hindi lang ang gobyerno ang nagsabi niyan, kundi ang isang independent body, ang PPCRV, at the world leaders, no? We leaders all over the world have already acknowledged and given their congratulations to the incoming president. Ito yung idinudulog natin sa mga magulang, no? Na nabantayan ninyo yung mga anak ninyo kasi hindi yan simpleng rally. Ang nasa likod niyan ay ang CPP-NPA-NDF at hindi dissent ang kanilang hindi democratic process ang interest nila, kundi ang i-recruit ang mga anak ninyo para maging CPP-NPA-NDF or kaya gawing sacrificial lamb pag meron silang tinapon na granada dyan at mamatay at isinatural. Ibibintang nila sa gobyerno yan. No?
Those who will continue to join rallies should be discerning according to the Armed Forces of the Philippines. AFP spokesperson Colonel Demi Zagala said protesters should exercise due diligence to know who they are associating with as reports of possible moves from communist terrorist groups are coming. Zagala meanwhile assured the public they will uphold the rule of law to maintain order in support of democratic institutions. However, he also urged protesters to respect the freedom of expression as it applies to everyone, not only to a selected few.
We are a free country, it's a democracy. However, we wish them to be discerning, study well kung sino mga kasama nyo, and the freedom of expression goes both ways. You can say what you want, that is your freedom, we respect that. But at the same time, those who do not agree with you, please respect them also.
Despite allegations of electoral fraud, President Rodrigo Duterte said he is convinced that there was no cheating or any irregularities in the recent polls. To dispel doubts, Duterte urged the Commission on Elections to investigate.
Ito namang yung may glitch. O sabi nila na mga sira na hindi nagbasa ng vote. I hope that COMELEC would also find time to investigate, just to disabuse the minds of those na may dayaan. Wala akong nakita sa totoo lang, at hindi rin talaga ako papayag ng dayaan. Pero ganun pa man, just to satisfy the doubts of few of them na para may imbestigahan at yung result ibigay sa tao kung ano ang nangyari. As we await the final and official results of the proclamation of winners for the remaining seats, let alone continue to participate and watch the electoral process. Once the will of the people has finally been made known, and all the winners have have been officially proclaimed, we will begin the important process of transition of power to our new set of leaders.
It's 100% matched according to the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting as they track on the electronic election returns and physical copies. The PPCRV made the statement after comparing the fourth copy to transmitted ERs in their transparency server. PPCRV spokesperson Van de la Cruz said parties who are in doubt thinking of probable irregularities may coordinate with them for clarifications. However, he urged unreasonable critics questioning the election integrity to think of the efforts of their volunteers. The poll watchdog has encoded 16,820 ERs thus far. Police forces are now in the wrapping up stage assisting the Commission on Elections. The Philippine National Police, together with the armed forces, claimed to maintain general peace and order for the polls nationwide. More details from Stephanie Sevillano.
The recently concluded 2022 polls have been significantly safer than the previous 2016 national and local elections, according to authorities. Policemen are now in the wrapping up stage, with security deployment still on the ground. Philippine National Police Acting Officer in Charge Lieutenant General Vicente Dano Jr. attested to the successful elections considering its historic high turnout.
So far, sir, we can proudly say that the results of the NLE in comparing it to the last 2016 national and local election, we can safely say, sir, that the conduct of the national and local election has been very, very peaceful and normal.
Likewise, the Armed Forces of the Philippines said they have maintained a generally peaceful situation. AFP spokesperson Colonel Demi Zagala noted they have deployed more than 70,000 personnel nationwide.
I'd like to commend our soldiers for doing their duty and their duty well. They're still in the field, sir. They're still helping Comelec and in partnership with the PNP.
So far, the AFP has recorded only 19 election-related incidents in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao and in Region 9. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Stephanie Sevillano.
Still ahead, the Comelec prepares to hold special elections in 14 villages in Lanao Sur. The US, China, Russia, and Israel pledged to work with the next administration. We'll be back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Pangalagaan ang sarili laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Hanggat maaari, umiwas sa mataong lugar. Iwasang hawakan ang ilong at bibig, maging malinis sa katawan at ugaliin ang wastong paghuhugas ng kamay. Takpan ang ilong at bibig kung uubo o babahing. Umiwas sa mga taong nagpapakita ng sintomas ng coronavirus disease gaya ng lagnat, ubo at sipon. Magsuot ng face mask kung kinakailangan. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Lanao del Sur and Marawi City proclaimed the winning candidates in the recently concluded national and local elections. The details are from Claire Gighe.
Following the successful conduct of this year's national and local elections in the city of Marawi and most municipalities in the province of Lanao del Sur, the victory of election winners in their respective races have been proclaimed by the Commission on Elections or COMELEC. In Marawi City, Re-electionist City Mayor Mahul Gandamra was proclaimed as the winner of the mayoral race here. Gandamra garnered 37,076 of the total votes casted in 150 precincts. He was proclaimed together with his running mate Vice Mayor Abdul Rauf Anwar, who got 31,865 votes. Candidates who won seats in the City Council include Princess Pala Gandamra with 33,258 votes, Edmund Kapal with 31,212 votes, Sajid Munder with 30,727, Lailin Dimal with 29,682, Nasrola Pepe Basman with 28,594, Hanilove Makabangon with 27,612, Nasif Marangit with 27,329, Borji Dalidig with 27,067, Abdani Alonto with 25,673, and Abdul Rahim Lau with 25,164. Gandamra thanked his family, relatives, and supporters for giving him another opportunity to lead the city again.
Yan ang ating unang prioridad na makabalik ang ating mga kababayan sa loob ng Ground Zero. Although some of the sectors ay nakabalik na, but ang aking hangarin ay within my term or in less than 1 year, lahat ng ating mga kababayan ay makabalik sa Ground Zero.
Gandamra admitted that his fresh mandate is more challenging because some displaced families have not yet returned to their homes and that their rehabilitation is not yet finished.
Of course, with the support of the national government, ay ako'y positibo na matatapos natin ang ating rehabilitation.
Meanwhile, in Lanao Sur Province, incumbent governor and re-electionist Mamintal Alonto Adiong Jr. was hailed the governor alongside re-elected Vice Governor Muhammad Kalidragin Adiong and Barn Parliament Deputy Speaker for Lanao Sur Zia Uraman Alonto Adiong Jr. being elected as the congressman of the province's 1st district. Further, special elections are also seen to be conducted on May 15 this year in 14 barangays in different municipalities in the province due to the declaration of the failure of elections by the COMELEC. For PNA Newsroom, Claire Gighe of the Philippine Information Agency Lanao Sur.
Poll paraphernalias are being prepared for the conduct of special elections in Lanao del Sur. The Commission on Elections declared failure of elections in 14 villages in the province, following reports of stolen ballots and poll-related violence. Based on the reports, personnel from the Armed Forces of the Philippines failed to retrieve a total of 798 stolen ballots intended for the 4 clustered precincts in Barangay Ragayan, Butig. Meanwhile, poll-related violence in Barangay Pindolonan, Binidayan has resulted in the destruction of VCMs and 576 official ballots intended for its 3 clustered precincts. COMELEC also reported a serious threat of violence and intimidation in 11 villages in Tubaran, but the VCMs and the ballots remained intact. More than 8,000 registered voters were affected by the declaration of failure of elections in these areas. The Commission on Elections has affirmed the decision of its 2nd Division, denying the petition to cancel the certificate of candidacy of presidential candidate Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. In a 5-page resolution dated May 11, the COMELEC en banc, voting 6-0 with 1 inhibition, denied the motion for reconsideration of petitioner Danilo Lihay-Lihay to have Marcos declared as a nuisance candidate in the May 9 polls. The poll body says that after a careful review, the motion failed to raise new matters or issues, and the grounds that would warrant the reversal of the assailed resolution. In October 2021, Lihay-Lihay filed a petition urging the poll body to declare Marcos as a nuisance candidate. 2 months later, the COMELEC 2nd Division junked the petition. The COMELEC also denied the MRs filed against Marcos by Bonifacio Ilagan, Akbayan Party, Abubakar Mangelen, and the appeal of Father Christian Buenafe, among others. More leaders congratulate presumptive President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. for winning in the May 9 polls. Russian President Vladimir Putin extended his greetings to Marcos Jr., expressing hopes for a more fruitful cooperation with Manila under the next administration. He added that the relations between the Philippines and Russia were traditionally friendly. U.S. President Joe Biden earlier congratulated Marcos in a phone call and spoke of his plan to further strengthen the U.S.-Philippines alliance and expand cooperation on areas of mutual interest. Chinese Ambassador Wang Xilian also relayed the congratulatory messages from Chinese President Xi Jinping to President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Wang said he is optimistic that the Philippine-China relations would become stronger in the next administration. The Bangsamoro region ramped up its COVID-19 vaccination drive by launching a 3-day special immunization days. The Ministry of Health in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao targets to vaccinate at least 25,000 people in Sulu against COVID-19. Sulu Governor Abdusakur Tan urged unvaccinated constituents to protect not only themselves but also their families and the whole community from contracting COVID-19. Tan received his second vaccine booster shot during the kick-off ceremony on Wednesday. Other officials of the province also received vaccine boosters during the launching to signify their support for the immunization drive. The Ministry of Health in the region targets to increase the region's low immunization coverage and achieve mass population immunity by June 30, 2022. The country logged the lowest number of new COVID-19 cases so far at 109, according to the Octa Research Group. In a tweet, the Octa Research Group, the figure on May 11 is close to the forecast of 120 cases. The country now has a total of about 3.6 million cases. Citing data from the Department of Health, research fellow Dr. Guido David said over 3,000 active cases were recorded. The death toll stood at over 60,000. About 418 new recoveries were reported, bringing the total number of recovered cases to 3.6 million. Earlier, vaccine expert panel member Dr. Ron Jean Solante said an uptick in cases is expected a week or 2 weeks after the national elections. Solante added there had been super spreader events such as political sorties where minimum public health standards were violated. Filipinos will be paying more to PhilHealth starting this June as premium contributions are set to increase by 3 to 4%. In a statement, PhilHealth said that it would push through with the rate hike and income ceiling of 80,000 pesos. PhilHealth assured its members that it will continue to provide adequate financial protection against hospitalization costs. Under the Universal Healthcare Law, premium rates should gradually increase starting from 2.75% in 2019 until it reaches 5% in 2024 and 2025. In 2021, President Rodrigo Duterte ordered PhilHealth to suspend the rate hike due to the COVID-19 pandemic. More stories from the newsroom. The central bank says the country reached its first quarter GDP growth through the whole of government approach. A lawmaker urges the government to continue recognizing the achievements of Filipino athletes. Details ahead, stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin ang mga dapat gawin sa lugar ng trabaho laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ang mga kumpanya ay dapat magbigay ng face mask sa kanilang mga empleyado. Bukod dito, magbigay kaalaman din patungkol sa COVID-19. Siguraduhing malinis ang kapaligiran. Maglagay ng sabon at hand sanitizer sa mga palikuran. Siguraduhing ligtas at nalutong maigi ang mga pagkain sa kantina. Obserbahan ang kalusugan ng mga empleyado at katrabaho. Kung sakali man na mayroon silang sintomas ng coronavirus disease, gaya ng lagnat, ubot sipon at hirap sa paghinga, ay agad ipasuri sa doktor. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas attributes the Philippine economy's growth in the first quarter of 2022 to the government's bold and decisive fiscal and monetary actions. Central Bank Governor Benjamin Diokno said the 8.3% gross domestic product growth in the first quarter was achieved by a whole-of-government approach. He said other contributors include the central bank's record low key rates, which were slashed off a total of 200 basis points in 2020, and the relief measures that allowed banks to continue financial intermediation throughout the pandemic. Diokno said the domestic economy's performance helps fulfill the BSP's vision of a post-COVID economy that is stronger, more technologically advanced, more inclusive, and more sustainable. He said that the BSP will continue to work with the national government to keep the economy on a robust growth trajectory and to address headwinds such as price pressures. A new submarine optical cable system will soon run along Hong Kong, the Philippines, and other parts of Southeast Asia. Fiber broadband provider Converge will be involved in the C-Hainan Hong Kong Express Cable System, or CH2X, a 5,000-kilometer-long submarine optical cable with a capacity of 160 terabits per second. CEO Dennis Uy said the submarine cable system will boost connectivity and add diversity and redundancy to the country's international network. He added that the system will diversify Converge's international capacity portfolio as trans-Pacific demand will be served by the Bifrost cable system, with Trans-Asia demand to be serviced by the CH2X. Converge said the system is targeted to be ready for service in 2024. It will connect the Philippines to Hong Kong, Hainan, Thailand, East Malaysia, and Singapore, with options to extend to Vietnam, Cambodia, West Malaysia, and Indonesia. In Lawag City, a vending machine at the Capitol lobby showcases Ilocos Norte's local snack products and beverages. The machine was donated by the Department of Science and Technology to make local products available to a wider market and as part of efforts towards a smarter Philippines. The vending machine sells locally manufactured products of micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs. It currently offers fresh salads, sandwiches, drinks, and desserts 24/7. In June last year, the Ilocos Norte government inaugurated the One-Store Hub, an all-in store at the Paseo de Paway, which served as a warehouse facility and display area for local products from different MSMEs in Ilocos Norte. To date, there are 34 MSMEs and farmers associations that are actively engaged in the One-Store Hub. In sports, the country is urged to continue to recognize the achievements of athletes for their dedication to bring home glory and honor despite many challenges. Senator Sonny Angara made the statement after Mary Francine Padios of Pencak Silat won the country's first gold medal in the 31st Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam. Angara said sports continue to provide us with not only entertainment but also a respite from problems and challenges including the COVID-19 pandemic and the national elections. He said he expects to see more victories from Team Philippines, hoping to surpass the 149 gold medals it won in 2019 when the country hosted the biennial meet. After the country won the overall title in the 2019 SEA Games, Angara filed Senate Bill 1225 seeking to expand the coverage of incentives granted to national athletes and coaches. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. The youth and their parents are urged to be more vigilant against the deception of the terrorist groups in the country. The Commission on Elections is set to hold a special election in Lanao Sur. Failure of elections was declared in the province due to poll-related violence. The Philippines records its lowest number of active COVID-19 cases on May 11. A vending machine promoting Ilocos Norte's local products is launched in Laoag City. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. You may also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that inspire change. I'm Marita Muaje. Stay safe and have a good day.